Tell me, darling, could we run away? We could hide away by the cactus desert blue. I can see it just a mile away from this crowded place. I could lay there next to you.
Okay, guys, welcome back to our channel, Best Freaking Friends Forever. So we want to say thank you again for watching and tuning in. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe or like below. So we're going to talk about Unlikely Angel today, and I'll Be Home for Christmas. But first, we're going to do our icebreaker, which is how do you decorate your Christmas tree? So how do you decorate yours?
Right now the kids put Pokemon cards on it. I don't know if you can see. This is not my normal background. Next video I'll have a normal background back. But we just use ornaments from over the years that the kids have gotten for Christmas. What we've gotten, like when we got married, we got ornaments. And so we just have throughout the years, and also what the kids make at school. I'll put those on there too. And I did that in my household growing up, and I just carried that over to now. And I know a lot of people do themes, which I think you do. Well, you do color scheme, right?
I do, yeah, I do color schemes.
So I've seen, like in West Virginia, a lot of people like to do WVU.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that, and like I've seen woodsy, like outdoorsy types, and I've seen people do their favorite character from a movie or their favorite movie, that sort of thing. Tony wants to decorate a tree and make it look like Darth Vader. Yeah. I think that would be cool.
That would be cool.
We're Star Wars fans, so that would be nice. What color is your tree this year? Or did you get it up?
I've gotten it up, but I still haven't decorated. I think I'm going to do, I think last year I did silver and gold. So I think this year I'm going to do like blue and pink, I think. And then I have like silver garland that goes around it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm not like a star person on the top. I usually do an angel.
Yeah.
And I usually every year I buy like different, and I didn't do it this year just because everything went on. But normally I try to buy, like at the end of Christmas, I'll buy ornaments for next year. Like I try to get a stock of new colors or like different colors that I don't have yet, so that I can, mix and match, or because I like to make it different every year.
Yeah.
So, and then of course I get, like, being a teacher, you get ornaments from kids most of the time. So I'll put those on every once in a while too. So that's nice to get ones that they bought me.
I like a good Christmas tree. I think they're all pretty. I don't care how you decorate them. I think they all look good.
Mm-hmm.
And I like driving down the road and seeing them in people's windows.
Mm-hmm.
I like that too. And our town over here, there's a lady that started a page, and she's trying to do like Corona Christmas lights. And so she's like doing like a contest for who has the best, and she's doing a giveaway, and the community's kind of pitched in. She's just like, let's do something where we can do something. We can't have a Christmas parade, and at least this way we can drive around and look at lights.
Well, and I think that's really cool because all the kids, I mean, I know as a kid I loved doing that. Like we'd go to one of the neighboring big areas that had big houses, and they'd always do their houses really. They'd go all out on their houses, and it was always nice to drive up there and do it as a family. So that I remember that as a kid. So that's nice that they're doing that and taking the time to do that.
Yeah. And I do notice I'm starting to see more this year than I have in the past. I see people putting stuff up. And we have like 9-foot Santa that we have up in our yard. And we have a minion, a snowman, a sloth. And I have one of those projector lights that goes, and it's Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we got away from the trees. So, Unlikely Angel.
Yes. It was directed by Michael Switzer. It was released on December 17th, 1996, so right before Christmas. And it was a made-for-TV movie, so it doesn't have the stats that we would normally give. But its budget, we did find, and it was $4 million for that movie. So we got to think who was in it. So a large part of that budget was probably for Dolly Parton. But yeah, so they had that. And it was so it was right before Christmas that it was released. So, and I remember watching it I mean, I didn't watch it a whole lot, but I do remember watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, yeah, the last time I watched it, I was really young, and then I rewatched it as an adult for this, and I still like it. I still enjoy it. It's a good movie. I don't know. I don't think it's like a very popular movie. It's, I feel like with Christmas movies on TV, they kind of show the same movies over and over, where there's a lot of Christmas movies out there that they could put out.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
that they don't. But the premise of it is a wonderful movie with Dolly Parton playing a self-absorbed singer who meets an untimely death and gets an opportunity to earn her wings if she helps a family lost in the tragic death of their mother find each other again. This should be a holiday movie tradition. So yeah, we first see her, she's singing in a bar. And she comes out and catches her man kissing with another lady in the vehicle. But apparently Dolly's the same way. She kind of runs around too. Well, her name's Rudy.
Ruby Diamond. Ruby Diamond.
Okay, got the letter backwards there. So yeah, Ruby. But she drives off after she splits up with him. She drives off and she swerves to miss a deer in the road. And the next thing she knows, she's at the pearly gates.
Mm-hmm. She meets Peter.
Yep.
And she's talking to him, and he's telling her why she's there. Because she goes up to the gates, and they close on her. Like, she's like we talked about earlier, she's watching all of the people go through and make it through the gate and get their wings and, go where they need to go. And she walks up to do the same thing, and the gates close. And Peter's talking to her, and before that, she asks Peter if some of her family members are up there, like her mom and her grandma, and he says yes. And she asks about the uncle, and he says and so yeah, so he does this little talk, and she's like, well, why don't you just send me down there then with my uncle? And he basically tells her, he's like, you took your life and put the deer's first over yours, so I saw a glimmer of hope in you. So he's giving her a second chance, and that's how she meets the family. He tells her he has to help, or she has to help the family come back together.
She can't be a floozy.
No, she can't, and she's not allowed to get together with the dad or anything like that. Like, she's strictly there to help them find each other again. And she has 1 week to do it. Like, it's a week before Christmas. So she has 1 week, and then if she doesn't succeed, then she'll join her uncle.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And this family is something else. They, especially the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they lost their mom 2
Yes.
years ago, or 2 years prior. And I don't think they've just not come back.
Right. And the dad had buried himself in work for the most part. So he just kind of ignored them and hired her as a nanny. She became their nanny.
Mm-hmm.
So she could help with the kids. And so yeah, she starts saying, let's make cookies. I think she does that one time.
Mm-hmm. They do cookies. She has them sing. She finds ornaments because she wants them to get a tree. And so they go get a tree, and then she's looking at a box of ornaments that were made by them, that the mom had put in a box in the closet. And the daughter says, you better put those away, because dad's he's not ready for Christmas to come back. Because I guess it was all the mom in the past. She would always make the house Christmassy for them. And so since she's been gone, he just hasn't wanted to, do it. So Ruby takes it upon herself to make it Christmassy for them. So yeah, they do cookies, they do music, they do shopping, they go shopping, and then the daughter gets in trouble, and then the dad fires her.
Yep. And that's when they say, okay, your job's over. St. Peter, right? He says you can't, you're done, your job's over. And she said, I don't care what happens to me, but I want to worry about this family and what happens with them. Because she says they're a mess, they're lost, I need to help them. And that I think is also a test in itself, because she could have given up on them and she didn't. She refused. But he let her stay and to make, to try to fix things. And she does get them fixed. She gets the dad with a lady he works with. She gets them together.
Which works out because the kids, at the beginning of the movie, when they go to visit him at the office, or she goes to talk to him about things at the office, she meets Allison and the kids are there, and you can tell that they already have a relationship with her. And so that kind of lets you know, okay, why? Because you wonder why they hadn't gotten together before, but he just wasn't ready. And she wasn't willing to push, you know what I mean? Allison wasn't ready to push, so they kind of just went about each going their own way at the moment. So
Yeah. But they do get together.
mhm.
And I think the son has a little bit of trouble, right? The son's like a little upset just because.
He is, because I think I think he likes Allison. It's nothing against her. It's just he's not ready for dad, because he has a conversation with his dad, or the dad has to find him because he runs away for a little bit, and they have to go look for him, and then the dad has a conversation with him.
Right. And just says, I love you and your sister, so there can be there can be enough love for me to love your mom and still love Allison, right?
Yes.
And so yeah, and then that's kind of where Dolly starts to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes away. She doesn't really get to say like a formal goodbye.
Mm-mm.
And she gets her wings.
She does get her wings, and that's my favorite part, when she gets her wings, because she's come full circle. She's now, she's truly thought of other people other than herself. So she went from self-centered, self-absorbed,
Yeah,
to actually caring about other people, truly, genuinely caring about them.
yes, for sure.
So that's my favorite part of the movie.
Same. I like that part too. That's good. It's just a good movie overall. I'm a big fan of Dolly. I haven't seen all of her movies yet, but every movie I have seen of hers, I really enjoy. And she's had little cameos in movies too. She's been in TV shows. She's been Dolly's infamous. She's iconic, 100%. What other than Walt Disney, who else do you know has an amusement park named after them? And
very true.
And I've been to Dollywood a couple times. It's a very beautiful park. Her water park, I've been to several water parks, and her water park is one of my favorites. I love that one. And she really turned that town around. That's where she grew up. She was born and raised there, and she came back and gave people jobs and turned that town around. She had a vision, and she made it come true. So yeah. But you enjoyed it.
Wholesome movie. It's a feel good. It is. It's a feel good family movie.
Yeah, it's very similar to. Kind of not. There's similarities in this one and I'll Be Home for Christmas.
There are, because both lead. Yeah, there are. There are a lot. Yeah, there's a couple similarities.
Yeah, but we can get into that one now.
So yeah, so I'll Be Home for Christmas, which we know has Jonathan Taylor Thomas in it. Its release date was November 13th of 1998, so it's a little newer by 2 years. Its budget was $30 million, and opening weekend it didn't even make $4 million. It was close, but it didn't even make $4 million. So we did some research on what that would be in today's terms. That would have been $6.3 million today that it would have grossed its opening weekend.
Yeah, and I feel like $30 million is a lot for back then. That was a lot for a movie. And I think we kind of agree on this, where a lot of that budget probably went in his pocket. We couldn't find anything on it, like what he made for that movie. But he was a well-known actor at that time. He was known for, and he was like a heartthrob. A lot of girls, really liked him. They had posters, and he was JTT. That was the little name that he got.
Well, and he had hit movies under him. He had Lion King at the time too, and he had Home Improvement. Really, there was Jessica Biel too, who really, she had Seventh Heaven. I'm pretty sure Seventh Heaven was going on then, and I'm pretty sure the actor that played the dad, for that time, he was pretty well known. So a lot of it probably did go towards, those three really. And the girl we talked about, she was the sister.
Yes.
Was on a lot of the Disney movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it was a pretty big budget. Didn't even make half back of what they put into it. What did you say globally? it made?
It didn't even gross 13 million USA, and worldwide it was the same thing, 12.2 million. So that would have been 19 million in today's terms or today's account. So
Right.
yeah, it didn't even make half, even worldwide, it didn't even make half of it back.
And it was a good movie. I
Mhm.
liked it. I had watched it for the first time to watch it for our channel, and at first I was a little like, and then as it went, I was like, wow, this is really good. I really enjoyed it. I liked it. Yeah, at the beginning I wasn't so crazy about it because he was kind of like to do his antics, where he was always getting into something. I feel like
He was selfish. He was kind of a jerk about it too.
yeah,
And just, yeah.
very mischief, I feel
Mhm.
like. And so then we get to kind of see his character grow as the movie goes on and mature. Big time.
Mhm. Oh, he definitely did.
Yeah. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was when Jake asks his stepmom what her shirt size is, because I feel like that's him. I mean, that's him finally being, like you said, mature, and he's not selfish. He's gonna give her a shot now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's
And
gonna
it
try
was
with her.
right. It was never that he had anything against her personally. It was just he was upset because he felt that his dad moved on too fast since his mother had passed away.
Yeah, because I think it was only 10 months we talked about. Yeah. And the hard thing is that, like, most movies that have a stepmom, I mean, we know the stigma on stepmoms, especially in movies. They're not very nice. They treat the stepchild horribly. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the case in this movie, so it's really hard to not like her. So when he's kind of being a jerk to her, he's being like, it's hard to not be mad at him because you can see she's trying with him. Like,
Well,
she
she's
wants him to come home
excited.
for Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, "Is he coming?" Like she asked
Mhm.
her husband, "Is he coming?" And when he is, she's like, "Oh, great!" She's so excited that he's actually, she's not that evil stepmom like in Parent Trap where she's wanting to send him off to boarding school and
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally as excited as the dad is when he's coming home.
Hmm.
Like, she wants to see him.
Yeah, which that's cool.
Well, and you can see the relationship between the sister and her too.
Yeah,
So she can't. I mean, the sister and her get along
right.
well. I mean, there you can see she's not the typical stepmom.
Yeah, and I like the sister. Her the dog. I like the sister. She seems to give him a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, right? His name's Jake in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, she seems to give him a hard time, which I really like. But my favorite part, I've got a couple of different ones. My favorite is whenever he goes, I don't remember the line word for word, but I've only seen it once, so don't get upset at me. But where he goes to get his ticket and he calls her what, a goddess, a super goddess or something, or mega goddess or something like that.
Yes.
That's his password. I like that. And then I like the part where they're doing the Santa race and they're getting to the end and he makes all these faces because he's like, oh, I got to get to the end. It was really funny. But after the mayor wins every year and donates the money so people can buy, or he can buy turkeys for people. And
Yep.
so, of course, Jake, you kind of start to see him soften up and think
Well, so
less about himself.
I think that's really one of the first real big times that he does that, isn't it? Where he's finally not, I mean, he really truly is thinking of other people. He's like, oh, I think you need to turn around. Like, I mean, because he knows, and
Right.
he's counting the money. He knows he's giving it up. He knows he should, which
Right.
is, I mean,
Yeah. Well, and like even by the time he gets close to home, he doesn't even, because he makes his girlfriend mad because she's traveling with his nemesis to get to New York. And she said, what does she say? Like, even if you showed up,
in a one horse open sleigh.
yeah, I wouldn't forgive you. And
Mm-hmm.
she gets upset with him. And he shows up. He steals a sleigh from a parade, a Christmas parade that's going to happen. And he shows up at her house. And then they make up. And so then and that's another of my favorite parts, is he goes to, he takes her to his house. And she's like, you've got 1 minute. You made it. Because if he gets there by 6 o'clock on Christmas Eve, he gets the Porsche. His dad told him. And the Porsche is sitting in the front yard. And she said, "Aren't you going to go in?" He goes, "No, I want you to, watch my family with me," which I thought was really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad's going to give him the Porsche, even though he's a few minutes late. And he said, "No, we still have work to do on it."
Yeah, so he didn't even take the Porsche. She's like, well, I think we've got more work to do on it. I think it's going to take longer. So I think that's another way of him reaching out to his family. And I think hopefully that means they're going to take a turn for the better and they'll be closer and he'll take time to come home more and things like that.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of character development in this movie, just in the short period. Like, he helps that cop get his wife back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what really started to get him to change was whenever they went to the children's hospital, and
Oh, yeah.
and that little boy at the end was like, "I don't want a present. I just want my family." And then 3 grown men sitting there trying to talk to family.
Yeah, they're all on the payphones.
Yeah. If you don't know what a payphone is.
I was gonna say, isn't that, I mean, thinking about, man, that really dates us.
Hey, they have one here.
They do. Man.
I go to Kroger and there's one outside of Kroger. I'm trying to think. And in my town I grew up in, for a long time, they had a phone booth for a long time, like where you could walk in, like Superman, where you could walk in and make a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore.
I was gonna say, those are old time now, huh? They've gone by the wayside.
Oh, I remember getting off the bus in town, because we lived out in the country. So I remember getting off the bus in town and calling my mom and say, "Hey, come and get me when I'm ready." Old phone booths, old pay phones. I remember those.
You always had to carry 25 cents with you. I think it was only 25 cents to make a call, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think over time, as they started fading out, I think they got to be more money. I think the one out at Kroger here, I think it's at least $1 to call on it.
Jeez Louise.
But you can collect call.
Oh, well.
You can do that too. Remember, if you didn't have the money, you could collect call, and then it would charge the person you were calling.
You want to accept the charges.
Which I think that's isn't that a big thing in prison too?
I was thinking too, but I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
That sounds like a casino when you're getting a call from, yeah. Yep.
And then I remember my dad worked out of town a lot, and they used to have these where you bought minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could pay for your landline, you could pay for like long distance calling, but mom and dad would never pay for that. They would buy a card that had minutes on it, and they would buy those at Walmart all the time. And I just remember, like, you would have to, oh my gosh, this brings back memories. You would read that card, and if you guys remember this, please comment. Like, we're not getting any comments. I don't care at this point. Like, comment about anything. If our hair looks bad, like something. But on the card, you had to type in this number. If I'm remembering this correctly, you typed in the number that was on the card, and then it would tell you how many minutes you had left.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my dad would call us. We would call my dad, and we only got to talk. He would leave Monday morning and come back Thursday evening, and we only got to talk to him back then 1 day a week. And when we had those minutes, we kind of got to talk to him more. And then once cell phones became big, we talked to him nightly. We would talk to him every night. So yeah, it was I swore I would never marry somebody that traveled like that. I didn't like not having my dad home, because I was very close. Well, I still am close to my dad. But I liked having my dad home, and I was like, I'll never do that. I don't want my kids to go through that. I love you, Dad, but I didn't like it. And I know it was to put a roof over our head, but I didn't like it. I just remember being a kid, not liking my dad home, not having him home. But yeah, my goodness, that brings back a lot of memories. Just talking about a movie, and then you think about your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember watching this, or never did. I mean,
we watched it when it was, but I don't think we watched it a whole lot, but we did watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I never really cared for much of his movies, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. And so I think that was one reason why I never really sat down and watched this one. But I'm glad this channel has made me watch a lot. So I like that.
I just like looking back, and then like we talked about just being able, I mean, with him, like you said, his movies, I mean, Man of the House, where, one of the facts about this movie was this is the second movie where he's had to get someone out of a locker. Because in Man of the House, his friend was always shoved in a locker. He was, well, I guess he was a nerd at the school, I guess, and so they picked on him, and so he'd always end up in the locker, and that's basically what happened with his buddy here too. So I mean, doing that, and then at the beginning when he has the Santa suit glued to him, basically the hat and the beard, he's out in the desert and the vultures are around him, and that's just like Lion King when Simba wakes up. He's got the vultures around him, and Timon and Pumbaa swoop in and chase him away. But yeah, so those are two. I mean, they mimic what he's already. You know what I mean? They're very similar to things that have already that have happened in other movies he's done.
Right.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't find very many facts about this one that like caught my interest. That one was okay. Yeah. And see, like, I forgot until we watched this, I completely forgot that he was Simba.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just the cub, because as Simba grows older, there's another voice for him though, right?
Yeah, the adult Simba is, which to this day, I cannot believe this. It was Matthew Broderick.
Who's that?
Sarah Jessica Parker's husband. Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Yep,
Shelley knows her actors better than I do. I'm horrible at it. I'd just be like, yeah, Shelley, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But yeah, okay, really interesting.
See, because you don't suspect that at all. That's another thing with watching these things. You like, especially Disney movies. You see. Oh my gosh, they voiced. Like I watched Anastasia the other day. Meg Ryan voices Anastasia.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, I know this voice.
Well,
and it was her.
When we were watching White Christmas, I swear I heard Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Or Tigger, or one of them, because I was like, that sounds like one of the Winnie the Pooh characters. And I never did look it up to see if it was.
That I don't know about.
Yeah. But I was like, that voice sounds, but I feel like a lot of those voices in those older movies sounded similar too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so you it's cool to look back. Like that's why we're doing this channel, so that it is because you look back, you have fond memories, or maybe not fond memories of certain movies or whatever, or maybe you just haven't seen them at all.
Yeah.
Like
Rudolph.
Movies that like movies that are coming up, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen them, and they probably were a large part of their childhood.
Oh, and if they got some good ones
or watched numerous times.
Yeah, we have some good ones planned for you guys. I think you'll enjoy them. Because after Christmas, we'll get into just anything. Because we were kind of trying to keep it with the holiday season.
Yes.
But after
New Year's.
Yeah, after New Year's, we're going to start doing some good old movies. And we'll take suggestions if you have any.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
We want to hear from you.
For sure. Comment down below. Seriously, we would love to hear from you.
And subscribe.
Subscribe, like it, dislike it. All right, guys. We want to thank you again for watching. We want to thank you for subscribing and liking or disliking our channel. We want to ask you to comment below. Tell us how you decorate your Christmas tree. Tell us, out of these two movies, which one do you like? Have you even watched any of them? What's your favorite parts in them? And until next time, that's it in a nutshell.